I'm gonna do live. Yeah. So is he gonna come back and clip this week or still? Yes. Because I don't know. Because I don't put TV. They gotta be set. Seriously. Just 1 second. Where yours at? Where yours at? Yours is, but it's not. It's down. It's not poking up towards you. It's down. It's been like that though. I mean, that's how it's been. That's how it's supposed to be right now. It's gonna be like that until probably next year. Talking about. Right. I don't know. How the fuck you get out this bitch? I'm trying to find a hole in the curtain. There's none? Man, oh. All right, man. That's cool. That's cool.
That's how I guess you got to feature.
Yo, she said Mashari your mentor, yo. That's the funniest shit I probably heard in a long time, yo. That might be the funniest shit I heard in a long time, yo. I'm only referring to you as your mentor from here on out. Like from here on out. You're drinking mentor. Dude, this brother, I was a regular alcoholic. This brother made me a super alcoholic. And he told me, why you stopping at 1 when you can stop at 37? I was just there, that been my mentor. It's the opposite of AA.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Yo, that's hilarious, yo. That's the funniest shit I heard in a long time.
Actually, bio, you want to introduce us separately?
All right.
Hi, how's it going? Let you guys real quick.
Good evening. Good evening. And welcome to the Enoch Pratt Free Library. My name is Vivian Fisher, and I am Deputy Chief of the Pratt Library State Library Resource Center here at the downtown location. This evening, we have a great program for you. We have a panel of exciting artists from photographer, writers to essayists and poets. For this evening's program, it is my pleasure to introduce Devin Allen, D. Watkins, Kondwani Fidel, and Wallace Lane, a stellar panel. First, I would like to introduce this evening's writer live author, Devin Allen. Devin Allen is a critically acclaimed self-taught photographer who was born and raised in Baltimore. His photograph of the Baltimore uprising was published on the cover of Time magazine in May 2015, only the third time the work of an amateur photographer has been featured. 5 years later, after the death of George Floyd, Tony McDade, and Breonna Taylor, his photograph from a Black Trans Lives Matter protest was published on the cover of Time magazine in June 2020. Allen is the winner of the Gordon Parks Foundation Fellowship. He was nominated for an NAACP Image Award for his book, A Beautiful Ghetto. His photographs have been published in the New York Magazine, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and Aperture. And his works are also in the permanent collections of the National Museum of African American History and Culture, the Reginald Lewis Museum here in Baltimore, and the Studio Museum in Harlem. He is the founder of Through Their Eyes, a youth photography and educational program, and he is a recipient of numerous awards for dynamic leadership in the arts and activism. D. Watkins is this evening's moderator, and he is the New York Times bestselling and award-winning author of The B-Side, The Cook-Up, Where Tomorrows Aren't Promised, We Speak for Ourselves, and his latest work, Black Boy Smile, a memoir, in Moments. He is editor-at-large for Salon, and he is featured in the HBO documentary, The Slow Hustle, and is a writer on We Own the City, an HBO miniseries. His works have been published in the New York Times Magazine, The Guardian, Rolling Stones, and other publications. He is also a college lecturer at the University of Baltimore and holds a master's degree in education from Johns Hopkins University and an MFA in creative writing from the University of Baltimore. And Watkins, too, has also received numerous awards. Kondwani Fidel is a poet and essayist that toured in the United Kingdom and lectured and taught classes at the University of East London. He has also lectured and shared poetry at countless universities, conferences, and literary events across the United States. He received his BA in English from Virginia State University and his MFA in creative writing and publishing arts from the University of Baltimore. Fidel was honored with the Baltimore City 2018 Civil Rights Literary Award. He has been featured in the Washington Post, Mic, and CNN. And the Baltimore Sun honored Fidel in the 2018 issue of Best of Baltimore as a change maker who is working to improve the Baltimore area with his courage, innovative thinking, and leadership. And lastly, Wallace Lane is a poet and writer from Baltimore, Maryland. He attended Coppin State University, where he obtained his BS degree in criminal justice, and he received his MA in creative writing and publishing from the University of Baltimore. Wallace is a persistent advocate for mentoring Baltimore's youth that provides literacy development for middle school students in Baltimore City. Jordan Year, his debut collection of poetry, addresses what it means to live and survive in Baltimore City. I am so excited about this conversation this evening, so please join me in welcoming our hometown artists, activists, Devin Allen, D. Watkins, Kondwani Fidel, and Wallace Lane to the Pratt Library, who will discuss Allen's recent photographs of Black Lives Matter protests in his latest work, No Justice, No Peace, from the Civil Rights Movement to Black Lives Matter, and to explore the connection between today's activism and that of the past.
I don't know, am I loud enough? Do I need a mic? I don't, I'm good. Thanks everybody for coming out on this cold Wednesday. I feel like I went to New York and came back and the wind hit different. But first up, when I worked on this book, this is a collaboration and I love collaborating with my peers. That's my nephew. What's up, Blake? But first I want to bring up Wallace Lane, who is like a brother. I met him through Condwani and D. Watkins. He's an amazing artist. You know, he has an amazing essay that, you know, that I needed for the book. It was vital, you know, but I wanted you to hear something else from him and hear his work. I feel like a lot of people have heard me, D, or Condwani, but I want to say I'm signing him to death row, and I'm working him into the group. He's next up, and I just think he's amazing, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do. I feel like he's the future. I can't wait to see what he's going to accomplish. So, Wallace Land, everybody.
Can we give another round of applause for Devin Allen, D. Watkins, and Condwani? As she mentioned in my bio, I'm a poet, writer, author, storyteller from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm also an educator, one of the few that didn't quit this year in Baltimore City Public Schools. So, when I met D, I met Connie. When I met Connie, I met Devin. And ever since, it's just been love. So I'm proud to be in this project. I got a poem that's called The Problem with Pandemics in America. I'm gonna spit that piece. Before we get into that, I'm gonna spit another piece. This is like one of the first poems I wrote when I decided I wanted to be a poet. Sometimes I think on all it ain't right. On them cold summer nights when I need a blanket at night. They be having me thinking about the hating, how they hating on kids, the evil things that I done seen with the mistakes that I did. I'm on a mission as a Christian, but we live in sin. We live in visions, visit prisons, and begin with an end. And they wonder why these dudes get rocked with the heat on every block. Drugs is steady, crooked cops on the streets. But if you snitch, you get lynched. Watch some homies get killed. The code will work as a kid, but that's killing my will. And I will live strong, but my feelings are still. And I got love for children in school buildings that excel. Ill, cold, life is love, yet life is war. Love always wins, war never ends. Sometimes I fall, and when I fall, I fail. Yet when I fail, I succeed. Progression because I prevail. Then what can you call success? And what can you call life besides the vices that I commit and these dices I battle with? On this battle scene in particular, in my heart where spiritual willpower collides, I dream of places to run, then I dream of places to hide. That means I cannot run. That means I cannot hide. That means I must run to the rising sun that's in front of me. They say they fight for peace. No, I say they fight for pride. How can you fight for a good cause when you damaged up inside? Corruption on every level, not steady. We still unsettled like the pilgrims and their children trying to survive in the ghetto. I was derived from the ghetto, not deprived in the ghetto, but I got depressed in the ghetto. I can't reside in the ghetto. I'm from the ghetto where the text blow. Prostitutes and pimps looking for the next hoes. Niggas stomping up and down the street like it's a step show. But it ain't a step show, it's just a neglected, AIDS infected, those who in need of correction, connection, connected like Connect 4. Who the hell is knocking at my door at 6 a.m. in the morning, crack of dawning? It's the police, oh, I'm yawning. They like tell these dudes next door to downtown that go. I'm like, oh no, how could this be? Them dudes is next door. Why the police messing with me? Could it be the fact that I'm my brother's keeper? Healthcare, recession, political grim reaper. Percocets, the new drama in the hood, street sweeper. Mama always warned me about them goddamn creepers. But I be a capper, basketball player, rappers. Never scared the white man, because at the end of the day, it's mind over matter. It's love above all. Sometimes I need a beat to be right. I know them cold summer nights when I need a blanket at night. They be having me thinking about the hating, how they hating on kids, the evil things I done seen with the mistakes that I did. I'm on a mission as a Christian, but we living in sin. We live in visions, visit prisons, and begin with an end. And they wonder why these dudes get rocked with the heat on every block. Drugs and steady, crooked cops on the streets. And boom. So this next poem is a poem that I wrote it. I was angry. And it's a poem that got selected to be in Devin's book, No Justice, No Peace. And it was in response to the public slaying of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, say their names, amidst a global pandemic. So you got to think we're in a global pandemic 2 years ago, and the Black body is still the most targeted body for slaying and death, even amidst us trying to survive, no matter if you were white, Black, whatever race you were. So this poem, I wrote it for two reasons. I wrote it because I was angry, and then I wrote it for the simple fact that I was bitter in a sense that we, the rush and the haste to find a cure or a vaccine for a pandemic, but not for racism. So this poem is called "The Problem with Pandemics in America." I'm gonna step away from the mic from this one. The problem with pandemics in America are the differences. The tale of two stories untold, not based on distances. The cruddy Constitution and all the crime and those sentences. The wicked white man that wrote it and all his witnesses. The same government that lynched us is no coincidence. Pumped us and destroyed us with poison and carcinogens. That sin then dictates our health down to our penmanship. It further separates us as poor from those with privileges. And after they avoid and destroy, they exploit our differences. They wonder why we tired and ride this country's wickedness. Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd died in defenselessness. Breonna Taylor killed in a home that's not dimensioning it. Amidst the pandemic that kills this as suspensefulness, the crooked cops and crooked doctors, how we predicted it. America died hot and pity when the pandemic hit. A country's true colors exposed in self-centeredness, from killer cops to Trump supporters to white privileges to viral executions to show you what modern lynching is. From politics and policies that deem you immigrant, that put a price tag on your head, target to skin you in. From tempers flaring to tension boiling from the maliciousness. The reason why we marched in the streets and risk getting sick. From anti-racists to angry allies marching participants. From major cities burning to pick the pain of the trenches. Problem with pandemics is rooted in racial differences. Generational gaps with blacks, that's what collision is. First, they took our freedom and turned us into the living dead. Made a profit off cotton and slavery as the businessmen built the nation. Cut the shackles with no percentages. Raped us of reparations and favors and fuck the dividends. Raped us of reparations and favors and fuck the dividends. Raped us of reparations and favors and fuck the dividends. Segregation and legislation, pain was significant. Mass incarceration, new obligation we living in. Mass incarceration, new obligation we living in. This government created and spaded, it's no coincidence. They shuffle out the demons, disparities, and carcinogens. Then offer vaccinations and welfare and crooked stimulus. Dividing us from the trenches where we live versus the picket fence. Until America owns it and hones in on these differences. The problem with pandemics in America are our differences. The problem with pandemics in America are our distances. Thank you. Again, I wanted to thank Devin Allen for having me a part of this project. I truly appreciate having a home for my poetry. Being a poet, sometimes it's hard to get a home for your poetry. But when you truly understand the mission of your city, that means a lot. So I definitely want to give it up for Devin Allen publicly. And thank you. Again, my name is Wallace Lane. I got a book coming out soon. I got my book, Jordan Year. You can follow me at social media. Just type in Wallace Lane. I got several short poetry films that I'm producing right now and I have out right now also. So please check that out on YouTube and I'll be here. So thank you all again. Appreciate it.
I told y'all that boy different. He nice.
That boy different.
I might have met him through them, but I'm claiming that I put him on. So when he blow up and get a big check, I just want my reparations.
Right.
Despite our differences. But that's my guy. Yo, this next guy, man, if you would have told me I would have had like one of my best friends would have been from East Baltimore, I would have laughed dead in your face. And it's crazy how the universe works. When I met this guy, I was coming into my own. Freddie Gray just had met his demise, and I was like, Reginald Lewis wanted me to do my first exhibition, and as I was pulling it together, you know, since I start off as a poet, which you will never hear anything that I ever wrote ever. But he had wrote this piece called "The Baltimore Bullet Train," and I've never heard a poem come out of my city that I related to so much. And I never heard it spit like that. He had the white beater on, bandana in front of his head. I was like, Tupac alive. I knew he was in East Baltimore the whole time. And I didn't know who he was. I just said, I want this guy to perform. And I sent my homegirl, Cheyenne, who's an amazing artist, find him for me. And they find him. He performed at my very first show.
Where she found him at? Where she found him at?
She found him on Mills Avenue and Sugar Ray's. He in the chicken box.
By the dumpster.
He performed, he killed it, and then like a couple months later, you know, around this same time, me and D, you know, we can talk about it later, but D said, yo, I got this young artist. Oh, well, yeah, I know him. He's like, yo, I treat him like a brother. You know, I give him the same respect you give me, and I said, say less. And we've been running triangle offense ever since, so I want to welcome my big little brother, Condorani Fidel. And I actually said his name right.
Yes.
Thank you. Before I start, I definitely gotta give thanks to my brother Devin, man. Like he say, he put me onto his first exhibition, and ever since then we just been rocking out. From that to collaborations with an ID magazine, to Be More Art magazine, to Spaces That Are Unentitled at the Peel Museum. Man, we did a lot, and it's just genuinely like one of my brothers. So thank you for that. Had to. And a lot of Devin's speeches or events that he does, you know, he always gives it up for his grandmother, you know, and he's probably gonna tell y'all the story about how, you know, she got him his first camera or whatever. But I was fortunate enough to be raised by 3 grandmothers. So and I just feel like they just don't get a lot of credit in the mainstream media how they should. So I had wrote this poem in the absence of one of my friends' grandmas had passed away, and she asked me to write something, you know, for the funeral. So I just wrote this, and it kind of, you know, talks about, you know, who her grandma was as a person, but just talks about like matriarch just in the Black community as a whole. You know what I mean? And it's called Dear Granny. To the grannies who bend over backwards to stretch heirlooms, to the grannies bulging veins filtering blood to the heartbeat of the body we call family, to the grannies who carry on their backs generations of Black babies loyal to the soil, they'll do whatever it takes to protect their seeds. To the grannies who walked away from their good paying 9-to-5s to get a license in childcare, to raise grandbabies from dusk till dawn while still making ends meet. To the grannies who would kidnap the sun to solace their loved ones on cold winter nights attempting to control the temperatures of the city. We know it get wicked here. What a mission that people deem impossible, but Tom Cruise ain't the only one who can defy the odds, especially when there's a God in heaven whose grip is tighter than the demons you once broke away from. To the 3 outfits Granny bought us: play clothes, school clothes, and what's the third one? Church clothes. The Holy Trinity. To the grannies who ushered us to church, gave us church candy, and slapped us while we nodded off in the pew. They always woke us up when the sleep got real good. To the grannies who prayed for us more than they prayed for themselves. To the grannies who sent us on store runs for pork rinds, Pepsi, and Newports. Shout out to the clerk who let us purchase the fugs even though we were underage. And shout out to the cool ass grannies who would let us keep the change. To the grannies home cooked meals that could feed the whole block. To the home cooked meals that Granny guarded with her life. To the grannies who ran us out of their sacred places with hand gestures and coded language. You had no business in that kitchen while Granny was cooking until you became old enough to know not to pour old grease down the drain. And tall enough to open all of the cabinets. And arms sturdy enough to stir pots. And wise enough to ignore the lines on measuring cups because we all know real cooks eyeball spices and liquids. On a low, granny be a chemist, granny be whipping, granny be so nice with the utensils. If I was a betting man, I'd put up one of my siblings for collateral. Granny could bang out Thanksgiving dinner with her eyes closed in that kitchen. I see some grannies don't, but it's some grannies that get it. To the grannies who told us not to mark up our bodies with tattoos because it will hinder us from getting a good job, and simply because it's not what God wants us to do with the skin she loaned us. To the grannies who told us not to put gold and diamonds in our mouths because it will mess up our teeth. And shout out to all of the grandkids like me who ain't listened to one word that granny said. To the grannies who passed down recipes, who passed down scriptures, who left behind memories of Merlot stained glasses and melodies. To the grannies who passed down oldie but goodies. To the grannies who passed away, they made for us. To the grannies who always believed in living, in birth, and truth. To the grannies who left us with another day to look forward to. Grannies, thank you. This last poem that I'm going to do is called Love Is Not Enough. I was listening to this Kendrick song, and he said, I'd rather you trust me than to love me. And I was like, that sounds strange. Why would you want that? Then I was thinking about all the people in my life that I love and don't trust. Like, you know, like if I leave $20 in the house around my mother and little brother, like I trust that one of them go and steal it. Like, but you know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there. Well, I'm thinking about all the times like where people will say the words, I love you, you know, as a form of some type of scapegoat. They'll harm you physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever. Be like, oh, but I love you. And it's like, all right, well, what else? You know what I mean? So this poem is called Love Is Not Enough. You see, I don't know much about love, but I know that in some cases, love is not enough. Love will have you chasing waterfalls and deserts. Love will have you flipping through the pages of an empty book looking for its definition. Love doesn't always equal loyalty. I understand why Kendrick said, keep it 100, I'd rather you trust me than to love me. Because what is love if the trust ain't there? Who cares about being locked in a room with him if there's always a fuss in there? You see, love will have you, love will hold you, love will choke you to turn around and attempt CPR without a certification. Love is an ice pick, it will poke you. Love is a pistol, it will smoke you. Love ain't always sweet like Smuckers, but it'll jam you up, that joint will toast you. Love will roast you. Love will have you driving 75 miles an hour, crying to your mother at 2 a.m. with tears dripping down your chin, cognac on your breath, phone glued to your ear, red Solo cup in your right hand while you gripping the steering wheel with your left. And mommy is on the other end asking repeatedly, baby, are you okay? And you can't respond because your cries are a monsoon, choking on a mixture of tears and spit, stuck in a three-way love affair. Do you take the bottle to the neck, crash the whip, or slit your wrist? Your family arrive at your peephole. They don't understand that your doorbell is only broken because your heart is. You landed the leading role. It got shaky on set. You don't even know what your part is. Mine missing. You don't even know what smart is. Your friends trying to get through your line, but you press ignore. Because if you tell them why you in your feelings, they going to judge you as if they never been in love before. As if they were never on drugs before. As if they ain't human, as if they ain't never been bugged before. Love will leave you broken, screaming, Alexa, play Death Around the Corner by Tupac Shakur. Alexa, play Madonna, Love Don't Live Here Anymore. Alexa, play DMX Slip Me Cause I'm Falling and I Can't Get Up. Alexa, play a Baltimore Love Thing by 50 Cent. I'd rather use Pinky Nail to feed nostril fentanyl than to be here stuck on stupid. Alexa, please play Cupid by Sam Cooke. Love was born a bullet, I'm hit. And shock trauma, I'm shook. Alexa, seem like you the only God I know who answer me on demand. Alexa, why love ain't got no do-right? I've been fighting all my life, but what happens when your knuckles used to rearrange jaw lines? Now your bones crack when you whisper, Alexa, I just want my Cinderella and glass slipper. Why is love the game of the century? I ain't no Bobby Fischer. You see, my chest panel lies a lonely king and a fraudulent bishop passing for a queen. Love is Rikers Island, a Bing. I'm trapped, my songs I sing, a hummingbird in the trenches, but I can't locate my wings. Around here, flying be non-existent. Listen, love will have you. Love will hold you hostage. Love is 3-6 Mafia. They about to find your body. Baritone from the depth of a mosh pit. Your angel on your right shoulder saying, try something different. As you begin to smoke your life away. Love is not a 5-star stay. Love is not an all expenses paid vacay. Love is not attention. Last night they was in your face. Look around, they gone today. Love had my granny putting a lien on her house to bail my mother out of jail. Love ain't fresh like granny's cookies made from scratch. You see, at times, love be stale. Love will have you away from home. It's deep. When I think about it, I ain't seen my granny in weeks. You see, love got you running the streets, crust living on the cracks of your mouth. Love got you scratching your neck. You see, love is the leading cause of death, but it's hard to find a solution when you admire the problem. It's hard to seek justice when your brother is the nigga who shot him. Love deposits souls, demand people for profit. Real love only exists in music, movies, books, and lockets. Love make me want to sell my soul, use the proceeds to pay the unwitnessed scenes that I've seen. Love is a bad day. Rent due ain't nothing but limp balls in your jeans. Love is a deferred dream. Love stinks like rotten meat. Love sags like a heavy load. Love explodes. Love don't be sticking to the G code. You see, love will have you. Love will hold you. Love will smile in your face with a mouth full of pearly whites. But I always keep one eye open because love be switching up. She looked me in my eyes and said, love is all we got. I said, don't hold your breath, baby, because love is not enough. Thank y'all. One more time. Please, like, give like a huge round of applause for these two brothers. They about to kill it, man. And thank everybody for coming out. And again, thank, for giving me this platform and, making me a part of this project. Love y'all, man. Thank you.
I just want to say one thing. Can y'all hear me in the back? Yeah. I just want to say one thing before we get started. These two brothers were amazing. I apologize if I look awkward, right? But I got to be honest with you. I love poetry. I just don't like people doing it next to me. Like, it's the most weird. Have you ever had somebody like aggressively talk about like their family and reparations and racism and like rotten meat next to you? Like, it's so uncomfortable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do poetry, write, create, be like, experience that love, but just don't do it next to me. I clearly asked the whole library staff, like, okay, with the poetry, where they gonna do it at? Oh, they're gonna do it over here. It's gonna be over there. It's gonna be for C-SPAN. And then I get on stage and it's right next to me. So with that out the way, again, my apologies. I love poetry, just the proximity to it. I don't, it's another story. But tonight it's not about the things that make me uncomfortable. It's about Devin Allen. And I don't just say things just to, because of the situation or the moment. I've said this on television. I've said this at the dice game. I said this in the back of strip clubs. I've said this. Devin Allen is our generation's the best photographer of our generation. And beyond what he does with his camera and the images he creates, but how he inspires and he pushes other people to be able to be their best selves too. And that's very, very special. That's not a traditional artist trait. People always ask like, oh, you and Connie and Devin, y'all did this and this and that, that and the third. And at the end of the day, it's not forced and it's not fake. It's a natural thing. And we're able to do that again because of how much we love what we do, how much Devin loves what he does, and how what he does inspires so many people. So we're gonna get into a conversation. We're gonna have some questions, but before we start, one more round of applause for Devin. So the first question I want to ask you is based on this book that I feel like every person in this audience deserves to own at least 4 copies, and you can actually make that happen, right? The first question is, talk about what you set out to do and accomplish when you decided to put out No Justice, No Peace.
The crazy part, I didn't want to put out no book. You put me in contact with the publisher. They said, we want to do a book with you. I wasn't even thinking about a book. But, when I did A Beautiful Ghetto was like a love letter to Baltimore. It was the show what we went through in 2015 and about what Freddie Gray would have saw, what I see when I go through my own community, what we see on a regular day basis, showing that camaraderie, those intimate moments that if you ain't from here, you're not from West Baltimore, you're not from Baltimore, you wouldn't know. But this book was a little different. This book was really looking at all I have learned and how I have evolved by being on the front lines. I got my camera in 2013. Shout out to my grandmother. I was on my first protest was 2014, and I can't even count how many I've been to in Baltimore. But I've been able to interact with so many different people that have so many different perspectives on how to get to this one goal that we want, which is freedom and not to be killed by the color of our skin. But it's a very simple concept, but it's very complex because everybody wants something different. But what I wanted to do with this book is, as a photographer, I always tend to become the viewer. So when activists start fussing at protests and they be like, you don't go hard enough, well, we believe in peace. Well, I don't care. And then they all want the same thing, but they all have a different way of going about it. And what I wanted to do with this book is to show how complex Black Lives Matter is and how everybody has a different viewpoint how to go about this change. And I want to make sure that every essay and everybody that I work with brought something to the table to show that everybody can play a piece in this. And photography, I feel, is one of the mediums that is one of the best things to use is a collaboration. To collaborate from hanging with you guys and hanging with, painters and writers and people from different crafts. Photography has allowed me to collaborate. So I really wanted, what this book is, to remove myself, but use my medium to elevate other voices and then basically bring all these different sectors from the Jacqueline Woodsons to the Wallace Lanes to the Chris Wilsons, but bring it to the Leslie Honorays, then bring it back to my mom and then take it to Charlene Carruthers, and like all these people have different perspectives and been through different things that change their viewpoints on what changes. And I wanted to show how complex that is.
Your grandma bought you your first camera. Do you think she would buy me a pair of Nikes? They could potentially change the way I hoop. Yeah. So one of the things I admire about Devin is how hungry he is to look out for other artists, to making sure other artists are getting booked, are getting paid. I've been around this man long enough where I watched him take photographers who nobody ever thought about and birth their careers. And then he never asked for any type of recognition. He never asked for praise. He never made a fuss about it. He went on to the next group of artists and he worked hard to try to make sure they had opportunities too. To date, Devin has given away almost 1,000 cameras and mentors, countless artists, countless photographers, and people who he feels like can be able to change their lives through art. And my question is, as an artist, I know this, you know this, we are in very selfish, self-indulgent, ridiculous professions where nobody really loves anybody. Everybody's just all about themselves and their next project. Why do you care? Why do you work so hard at making sure other people are able to be successful too?
I don't think it's hard work. It's not hard work at all. I think it's in my DNA. That's how my mother and my grandmother raised me. That's how the streets raised me too. Despite all the stuff that we go through, I had like a lot of solid guys to this day. My boy Black right here, all his friends took me in and they gave me a space to create. They didn't have to do that. So I've been lucky enough to run around and meet amazing people that help me get to where I'm at. Because it takes a village. So at the same time, who am I to just, get all this abundance of love and support and not give it back? So like when I see people, my boy Miles out taking photos, make sure he's an amazing videographer. He's saying he's not a real photographer, but he takes pictures now. But it takes a village, and for Baltimore to win, we cannot be selfish. I think about the fact that I didn't know any photographers, which is crazy to me. But now I see so many kids taking pictures. That's a win for me. So it's like at the end of the day, you can never fall or you can never fail if you got a village around you. So at the end of the day, I don't look at it as being work or being difficult. I'm just spreading my branches. Now I'm spreading my roots. I'm gonna help you. Now you got your own tree. Now, just spread your roots. Build you another tree. Build you another community. So at the end of the day, yeah, sometimes it might not pan out how you want to. The artist might not like you later because they want to stand too close to you. It's a lot with it, but I move with my heart, and that's why I continuously, I just worry about myself. But at the same time, I do want to see change in Baltimore. I've gone beyond Baltimore now, but I just feel like if I see talent, just the way people saw talent in me, who am I not to elevate that? When I see talent, I'm going to support it. That just is what it is.
As a Black artist in Baltimore, from Baltimore, when you come from Baltimore, especially if you come from the street, if you take on a profession like professional artists, you don't get the luxury to sit back and just do art. You also have to be saving the lives of at least 4,700 other people, right? Nobody's gonna say, oh my God, he takes these amazing pictures and then he goes, drinks alcohol and then goes out on dates. Like, nobody's gonna say that. Nobody's gonna say that. They're gonna say, what are you doing for the community? What are you doing for the people where you come from? So in actuality, if you got a deal for $100,000, it turns into $20,000 because of the amount of people that you may be taking care of and mentoring and looking out for and trying to do things for and trying to put on and trying to set up and what it takes to exist in that space. Is that dangerous?
I did it. I'm not going to do it again. But it is dangerous. But I just think about, once again, Gordon Parks is my idol. And a lot of people love his work, don't understand how philanthropic he was. The fact that he took the kid from Brazil, got him, and then this kid was like on his deathbed.
Little Fabio. Little Fabio.
3 weeks to live. Gordon Parks.
Free Fabio.
He flew him to America. He saw the best doctors, got that boy healthy, and then sent him back to his family. Lived with Gordon for a little while, got him right. He was on his deathbed, and how Gordon went there to photograph him, to tell what Brazil was going through. He went there for the art, but then, he has the heart. So I challenge every artist, we create from the heart. If you believe it or not, you got all the talent in the world, but the art comes from the heart. So, but it's beyond just what leaves your fingertips or your eyes or your mouth. It's all about what seeds you plant and what you are invested in. So I don't, it is dangerous because you can move the money your wrong way. And, you live and you learn as artists, we live this party lifestyle, like to party, have a good time. It's all fun and games. But at the end of the day, I've seen a change in my community and nobody can deny me that. At the end of the day, when I first picked up the camera, all my homies made fun of me. They was giving me a hard time. But I fast forward, I got my camera 2013 now. If you look on the ground right now, how many kids got cameras? How many of them I done been to their classroom, or they done got a camera from me, or they done went to one of my workshops, or they just done ran to me on the block. What you doing? Oh, I'm taking pictures. Or I just gave up, or their parents done hit me up and connected me with them just to talk. I'm seeing the change in the community, and no one can take that away from me. I'm seeing kids aspiring to be photographers. They're making YouTube pages. They're popping. I'm watching my kids get more money than me. I'm watching these kids at home. They get into it. And that's, I'm seeing the change, and that brings me joy that knowing the next generation of photographers that's coming behind me, we're going to probably be greater and probably climb heights faster and more steadily than I do.
I say dangerous because I feel like it puts pressure on people to try to be things that they're not. Like, I see people, and I'm sorry for mentioning Twitter, it's a very dirty, disgusting website where people say very mean and disingenuous things that they can't always comprehend. But I see people who look at you and they want to be an artist like you and they want to be impactful like you. So they present themselves as if they have the kinds of connections or as if they're doing the kind of things that you do, and they actually don't do it. And I wonder, like, as a person who is so connected, who has helped so many people, who literally has receipts, does it bother you? It actually bothers me. For transparency, it bothers me.
Like to keep it 100, like I've been outside for years. Like I got a lot of respect in my community. I grew up with a lot of people. You know, I've been in fist fights with people, done been jumped by people, done been arrested with people, done sold drugs with people. Sorry, grandma. Mom, already know how we had. You know, and I lost. My mom know the pain I went through watching my friends die over. You know, losing them. That's what makes me mad, because you present yourself like you've been through or seen the things that I've seen, and you haven't. That's what makes me mad. Like, we just lost a friend not too long ago, but I can share in that pain with you. You know, like, I hang out City of Golf all the time. They my guys. They watched me from, you know, since I was young all the way up till now. They knew when I got my first camera. I don't know how, we done lost the number of candlelight visuals we had to do down there for our friends that are no longer here. We lost a friend. We were doing a news interview. In the news, me and my brother Mashar, we doing an interview. He get killed around the corner. Literally 2 weeks later, the news sent me the footage. Say, "Oh, this is the last footage of your friend." I'm like, "Thank you for sending it to me." So you can fake it on Twitter, but we live it, and that's what hurts me the most. You don't have to go. You didn't go through the thing. So my biggest thing is, if you want to be impactful, like me, I don't. And that's the thing about this book. I don't understand everything about the change that I want to see. I don't understand everything. But I only can be true to myself. So if I don't understand that space or I want to be in that space, I'm going to collaborate. So my thing is, people present themselves but don't understand the pain, the depression, you know, and all the stuff that we really go through behind them closed doors. We gotta wake up and then it'd be like 5:45. Yeah, you know, go get the book. But then behind the closed doors, I'm balled up because I miss my friends. I'm winning. I got survivor's remorse. My friends die, I win. They're dying. I'm continuously winning. I'm climbing to new heights. That's a pain they don't understand, and that's what makes me mad, because you're faking it. You ain't seen it, and that's where it's not. I'm not even mad. It's hurtful.
It's hurtful. It's hurtful. You have to be at a certain, you know, comfort level within yourself to acknowledge when you're hurt. This is something else that we don't do, but it's something that we're learning and trying to get better. Yeah, I know these amazing people have questions for you, so I'm just going to ask you one more thing, and then we're going to turn it over to the audience so you guys can ask your questions before you go and pick up this amazing book. We know how the city is. We know what's happening in the city right now. If you can take these people, these participants on a ride through the mind of Devin Allen and talk about what you think, what you want the city to be, what you vision and what you dream of, what does it look like? For me, it's like free Wi-Fi and like free. I think every citizen should be able to have free Wi-Fi and free bottled water. It's gonna be like free Wi-Fi and just free water, but like that good water though, not like Delcini's and all that, but like actually like good ones. Whatever it is, I don't want it. It opens, it sounds like a Sprite. You open the bottle, is it Delsani? You open it, it says, Chaka. Like, why does it do that? Like, why does it say, Chaka? It makes that little Michael Jackson noise.
That's interesting, you know, because like I think as artists that like really are invested in Baltimore, and we're born here, raised here, we've seen it change. You know, you've been here way longer than I had.
200 years.
But you've seen the projects we built, the projects come down. Like you've seen it.
I seen them come down. I ain't seen them get built. That was like in the 40s. That was like the new part of the New Deal. I wasn't here. I wasn't alive with Roosevelt.
For me, what I want to see is, you know, COVID messed a lot of things up for a lot of people, a lot of my peers. You know, I know a lot of Black business owners that, you know, should be getting way more support from the city. I would like to see that. You know, and I'm not just talking about like, you know, they make it so you gotta have a building and stuff, but what about all the hustling businesses that might not have a spot? I would love to see all these vacant homes be open to, you know, allowing people to decide what they want to do with them. Like, you know, you talk about the dollar deals and things like that, but like, let's say, for instance, like me, I'm blessed, you know, like my grandmother gave me a house, you know, so what I'm doing, I'm going to turn it into what I want.
It's like white privilege. That's amazing. I just went up at Nike's, grandma. Like, he had a house.
No, I don't even imagine. I got so many guys that I know in the community. Just like I think about, I hang in Southwest Baltimore. You know, I think about how long City of God has been there, and I think about how much they put into the culture. But I've seen how University of Maryland was easy to come in and shape and start shifting that commercial. You know, we used to sit on the block, well, we still do. But, you know, that was our community. Now you got like this weird, like white kids that could be skateboarding up and down the block. Or like, you know, people look at us weird. I've been hanging on that for like 10 years. You know, they look at us weird, and it's just so crazy to me that like, this our community. Like, you know, and I'm talking about this is a community where you had like, some days you might, Sam Cassell might pull up, Mello will pull up, you turn around, Javante be getting his hair cut next door, then you'll see me fighting the barber next door because he messed my hair cut up. Like, it's a whole culture with it. I wish it was places, if we had a space where, all right, City of God, you love your community. What do you need to be great? We did the block parties already. We don't need that. We did Red Bull block parties. It's fun and games for one weekend. We did Cerebral Fest. We did that. What is next? What is something that can stand the test of time's legacy? They won't give us that. So give Black people legacy. You know, I just think about the history. You know, Pennsylvania Avenue, my mom would just talk about the Space Club and talk about what Pennsylvania Avenue used to be. But there's people down there that still care. There's people in this community that still care. Why not invest in them and let them dictate what they want their community to be? You know, like I'm scared as hell from Park Heights Black. I don't know. You know, but that's what I would like to see, where people who actually have been in the community for years, generations, can actually have a say in what happens in their own community. And that's what I would like to see.
I feel like your mom's too young to remember the Pennsylvania Avenue clubs. You might be too young for that. It's good. Yeah, right. Your grandma. I was about to say, because he tells people like, he's like, oh, just holler at D. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The next generation.
Yeah, my mom. I don't even know what my grandma was at. I don't even know what she was doing. I just know my grandma was slicker than what she thought he was. And I'm not going to talk about that because I thought, I'm going to put your business out there. My grandmother was smooth. I thought this guy was my grandfather. Like my grandfather the whole time, they was dating. Oh. Dating to be married.
Was it like Billy D or something?
Grandma was smoother than I thought he was, but then talking about you need to be on church on Sunday.
Look, you gotta watch Devin. We'll be at a restaurant or something having a sandwich, and somebody will walk past and they'll start a conversation, and he'll be like, "Oh, well, D can tell you about it because he was out doing slavery." I mean, like, yo, like I'm old, but I'm not that. Like I'm Jerry Curl old. I'm not slavery old, you know. But but anyone would like to ask Devin any questions about his work, about his career, about the book. Young mouse, kick it
Before
off.
we start with the questions, if we could direct them to the microphones, our friends from C-SPAN are here, and we also have a virtual audience.
All right, so what would you, this one was working? Whatever. Anyway, what would you, what's some advice you would give to a younger photographer?
A young photographer, I'm already giving advice to you on a regular day basis. That's my guy. You know, it's funny how I met Miles before I answered the question. He had posted like an Instagram video saying my life goes to get a portrait by Devin Allen, and I was like, "Where you at?" He said, "I'm on Greenmount," and I stayed pulled up and took the picture. And we've been friends ever since. I think he's awesome, and he shows dedication, and that's one thing I tell photographers all the time. And I think, you know, Liv can tell you she know about this. Yeah, I struggle with like when I'm doing photography, that I get caught up in social media and I start to create for other people instead of myself. And it takes a certain sense of dedication to create something that you believe in, like what you're doing now, how you're documenting your community, similar to what I did. You know, what I'm still doing is dedication. Baltimore has something special. We have a certain sense of grind and hustle about us. So when I talk to young photographers, definitely from Baltimore, I'm not the best photographer in the world, but what I do is I outwork all of them.
You are the best. You are the best.
I got a couple, but I outwork a lot of them. And I work with pure passion and pure drive. So I would say don't get caught up in the equipment that you have. Don't get caught up in a lot of those things. It's only one you got your two set of eyes. Stay dedicated to what you believe in and create from your heart. And then just run with it. Don't let nobody tell you anything. Because I had people telling me my work was negative. That's what Fuji told me. They told me my work was negative, but I'm signed with that. And I've been signed with them for years. I'm about to do a tour with them. Did it happen right away? No, it took 5 years, but I stayed dedicated. I went and bought me a Leica and I shot with it. I learned the system. And, you know, and now full camera later, you know, free equipment. Hello. I don't even pay for equipment. Shout out to like, so stay the course, stay dedicated, stay the course. Don't let nobody deter you from it.
He walks around with like a hard drive, and he literally like he takes. I'm scared to ask how many computers. I mean, how many photos he has. Like I know he has at least 30 hard drives. So it's like he's taking a ridiculous amount of photos a day, and you can probably compare that to like Kobe Bryant making like, what was it, like 1,200 shots a day. Like Kobe Bryant had to make like 1,000 to 1,200 shots a day. So the work is actually there. It's not an overnight success story where he was dreaming and then all of these blessings fell on top of his head. He's blessed, but he's worked extremely hard to make those dreams come true. And I don't want people to miss that.
Yes, my question is, at what point did you realize that your life, your goals, your passions, and your legacy will be the foundation for next generation?
It's a great question. It's a great question.
I think I noticed that early, which is the crazy part. I think what really I noticed was it was two parts, because the first part I failed, right? I remember being on Pennsylvania Avenue, and I was actually with D, and we were like, it's like you got like all these reporters everywhere. You got like the National Guard right here, but you got like prayer circles going on, all this other stuff. But I'm watching young kids, like 13, you know, weaving on bicycles and stuff through police officers and stuff. And at this time, I just got the time cover. Like literally, I just got it like the day before, and we were still on the front lines. That's the crazy part. Like I literally got a time cover, and I could have just said, I'm doing all the interviews. I'm outside, but I'm like, you gotta, hey, tell me being out City Hall, but I'm on Pennsylvania Avenue right now. And what I noticed, all the kids that were weaving, I was like, I only imagine what they see. You know, we done been tear gas, pepper spray. This is like the following week almost, because I didn't get the time cover. A lot of people thought I got it that week. I actually didn't get it to the following week. The actual issue didn't come out till May 11th. So I was like, I want to teach inner city kids photography. And I was like, that's my thing, right? That's going to be my activism. Because at that point, I didn't realize that people was considering me an activist. I didn't know what I was doing. Like I started understanding the concept of choice of weapons and what Gordon was talking about. And around this same time, D just had gave me the Gordon Parks book, but I could never afford them. And I still got that, by the way. I ain't gonna never let that go. You can't even find it. You stole it from a library too. It's still like a library strip on the inside. That's why I hear a real one.
God is good.
And I remember starting to go from me, driving down. I remember getting a check from Russell Simmons, cashing the check, going to the service photo, buying like 10 Nikons, like 10 Canon, like good digital cameras that I understood enough that I could teach, because I still was learning myself. And I remember driving down to the Kids Safe Zone because Miss Buffy, my Aunt Buffy, her friend had started this thing called the Kids Safe Zone through an old laundromat. And I remember going in like, who want to learn photography? And I just remember the kids like, boy, fuck you, get out of here. And I was like, damn. And I was like, all right. And we I don't want to take pictures, yo. I don't want to take pictures. Come on, yo. And I was like, no, you got to take pictures, yo. I'm about to go to Asia with Steph Curry. They was like, what? Give me that damn camera. Steph Curry. You know, and then that's when I started to realize, but it was through the years that anytime I want to, like, I don't feel inspired, I have to go back and just think about what are my kids doing now. And like some of my kids, I still talk to them. You know, it's 2015. One of my kids is at NYU. One of my kids is at Baltimore School of Arts now. I get both of them mixed up. They both taller than me now. One of my kids actually was the stunt double for Carmelo Anthony that he wrote the book for, because Carmelo couldn't be there because of COVID. So my students stepped in, and he's the same height as Melo, has played basketball. And the fact that my kids are still pushing, you know, he's my new inspiration. Like, he go out and shoot communities every day, and I was like, damn it, I'm too damn busy doing all this book stuff. And he's out there killing it, you know? And it's like, that's the inspiration. And that's when I really knew that, like, I'm in here, you know, like, and then the fact that, like, my kids check up on me. And then, you good? We had your homeboy got kids. You good? I'm like, crazy. And I'm dedicated to the rest of my life. I've gone Studio Museum of Harlem. I donated them a bunch of film cameras. I went to Oakland and taught twice with Stephen Curry. You know, it's the Under Armour collaboration that I did. You know, I gave all that money back to a nonprofit to buy more. We bought like 30 brand new cannons from Canon directly with that money, and I don't know what they're doing right now, but they got it, you know. And it's like, what's on to the next project? So it's something that's ingrained in me now. It's a part of the journey.
I think the key is be the person you needed. Be the person you needed, especially in your darkest moment.
Hey guys, so I have two questions, and either you can answer them honestly. So the first one is, what do you think it means to be a Baltimore native or Baltimorean, whatever you want to call yourself? And the second one is, because you talked about legacy and how photography is about kind of maintaining that legacy. How do you think that Black people in Baltimore City should be maintaining that legacy with all of the politics, you know, corrupt police force, you know, the infrastructure, everything that's involved in growing up in this city? How do we maintain that legacy with things being, you know, with things being kind of like up against us?
The first question I would say is, and this is mainly directed to some of the older people in the room. I remember when I used to go out of town and I would like be in front of a group of people and the girl would say, "Where you from?" And I would say Baltimore, and the response would be like, "Ew." You know what I'm saying? And obviously whoever this insert whatever random lady is probably a terrible person, but I'm saying that like that is how people used to look at this city. And then at some point it became, and I mean like artists from Baltimore used to act like they were from New York. They used to like, I love you, Wallace, you my brother. They used to get a hat like Wallace. and they would pick up the accent and they would be like, yeah, B, yeah, son, and all that. And they would act like it because Baltimore was seen as such a dirty, grimy den of murderers that nobody wanted to affiliate. And at some point it became cool to actually be from Baltimore because we had some positive shows. We had some heartfelt documentaries. We had some positive, some negative, positive and negative art. And a whole lot of powerful people start to emerge from this place. And now people, I'm Baltimore to the core. Oh, where'd you grow up? Annapolis. Okay, right. That sounds great. You know what I'm saying? So that is it means something. I think you can be from anywhere in the world and embrace this city, and I love it. Just make sure you love the people who actually come from it, because you'll be real. You won't be like a person who's like playing around and playing with what we trying to build. The other question is, Baltimore is not its politicians. Anybody who sit around and talk about Baltimore politicians all day is probably not from here or never been outside. The last thing that's ever going to come up in our conversations at the dinner table, we'll be talking about, how we moving is, that's what the city council did. That's what the state, nobody care. We trying to make sure our kids have it better than we had it. We trying to make sure our grandparents is taken care of. We trying to make sure the people around us are getting money and the respect they deserve. We do not, yes, we vote. Some of us, sometimes, but we vote and we understand the role that policy plays and we understand what that actually means, but we don't spend our time gossiping and chatting and talking about that stuff all day, because if we're going to be all the way 100, these systems have never fully been here for us. They just haven't. People, they come to us and they pander to us, but then when they get elected, they go do something else. And if you don't know that, you're not from here. So you shouldn't be trying to control any kind of narrative. So that's just kind of like how I honestly feel about that.
Too, is like, I think Kathy Cruz still on that lounge school. I think she down in New Orleans now. On the lounge school. She's still running.
Nah, she at Montgomery. I seen her.
But I think, man, I couldn't have said it better. Like even when I started finally being able to travel beyond just like going to North Carolina with my family or going to New York on the mega, but even still to this day, Baltimore get a weird look. Say too, they want you to do certain things and jump through these hoops to see if you from there. Just look at all the slamming we get on Twitter. Yep. Hulu. Well, how do Baltimore people say Hulu? They always got something to say, but like you touched on, a lot of people start really embracing it. After Freddie Gray, like, let's be honest. In the last 5 years, a lot of people start coming back, want to embrace it. The city changes so fast. I've watched it change so fast over the past 5 years, just in the position that I am as an artist. And as far as like the legacy, one thing about being oppressed, like whoever controls that narrative dictates what we remember in the future, you know. And I'll never forget watching the film. I'll never forget Aaron Bryant said, yo, you about the work you're doing is historical. I need you to watch this film. And he gave me the film Through a Lens Darkly. He gave me a film called Through the Lens Darkly and a book by Devin Willis and said, you ain't the first to do it, but watch these films because you're the next to do it. And in this film, it had everybody from Roddy Roy to Robert Houston to Curry May Wing just talking about the Black photograph and how it has been used and warped to create narratives that are not true. You know, and a lot of times the narrative is taken away from us. So we have to take that narrative back. So the power in the film is that the fact that the Black Family album, that's where a lot of the history is. And that's where a lot of the power is in letting us know that we was here. But we weren't in the history books. We wasn't in the museums in a lot of those places. A lot of those things are literally like sitting on under your grandmother's table somewhere collecting dust. You know, and I think I love is with, you know, my brother Derek Adams is working on a Black archive. He's working on a Black archive in Waverly right now where we'll be able to go and scan all your work. There will be a whole facility where you can scan your work, scan your family albums, date them, do whatever. He's trying to build a database of Black history.
Is it at the library?
No, he's building a whole new building. It's not even built yet. So shout out to Derek Adams for that. But that's what needs to happen. Like, it sits in our houses. We need our own museums and our own spaces and dictating where that work goes. And that's why when a lot of you think, oh, publishing work, oh my God, books are dead, books not dead. We need more books, you know, because that's where the history is going to be told. That's where it's going to last. It's not going to last. A lot of the younger generation, even myself, we get caught up in just because, oh, we got 1,000 likes. It's on Instagram. It's on Twitter. Yo, Twitter's going to come down one day. Facebook is going to come down one day. Instagram is going to come down. I try to log into my MySpace page the other day to try to get some old photos. I try to get into my photo bucket. But the internet is not tangible. It's going to fall. But what's going to be left behind? Those family albums and books. So I encourage everybody, I don't care if you got like a little Polaroid, a little cheap printer, print your photos out, put it in the album, because at the end of the day, that's where things land, when it's visible.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this wonderful program. And actually, thank all of you for coming out this evening. The authors will be signing books, and we have all the authors' books. And I do want you to know that all of your books are in the African American department at Enid Pratt Free Library. So if you have not visited the African American department, please come down and see it. And we are so excited about having you all here this evening. This was a wonderful program. Thank you all so much. Please purchase these artist books. They're outside. And we look forward to you coming back to other programs that we have coming up. We're going to have Jamil Hill here October the 27th. And for you all who know Jamil Hill, you know, she worked for Sports Center for some time, so she will be here. So do come out for that program. And you can register, and I don't know how many we have registered so far, but do not wait.
450.
450 have registered. So thank you all for coming out this evening. Look at our programs. Our programs are in our Compass newsletter, and we also have them online. When you go to our Pratt page, go to events, you'll see all our events that we have here. So thank you all for coming out this evening, this windy, this kind of cool night. And we look forward to seeing you again. And let's give a big round of applause for Allen, Watkins, Fidel, and Lane. This is a wonderful program. So thank you all so much. And then the next time, please come back. So thank you.
Hey yo, can you crack around back, yo? Go and go trail. One more Friday. One more Friday. He told me to say it. You call me, I'm getting mic'd up.